Whoa, what a day we had yesterday. Guys, welcome to the channel, and we'll be talking about that and a lot more, so stick around. I think there's interesting things to go through. Now, yes, the world is still pretty much upside down. There's flights canceled all over the world. This is going to take several days, apparently, to get solved, but and it's depending on where you are. Parts are more UK flights are crazy. In the US, it's pretty bad as well. Depending on where you are in Europe, it may not be as bad. Australia apparently was pretty complicated. It basically depends on who was using what. So companies using the software, well, the network of Microsoft, the Strike Force, is it, whatever it's called. So whoever was using Microsoft's service is still struggling with that, and apparently it's going to be several days until we go back to normal. But everyone got a little bit of a taste of what it would be if we end up in the end of the world, if we end up with no access to any of this stuff that we take for granted. There was an article that I was reading yesterday about we've never been closer to a full-blown economic world collapse. That was yeah. So people are freaking out. Let's clarify a few things. It is a complex topic. It is a complex network. It is something that has certain vulnerabilities, as it became extremely obvious yesterday. But at the same time, it has a lot of redundancy, and it has a lot of things that would allow you to get by. Even if one thing collapses or if one thing goes down, you still find ways around. But even if we're dragged back not to the 1800s but to 1980s, the world will struggle. I'm not gonna say it will fall apart. It would not be the end of the world or anything like that. But without internet, we would be in a very, very extremely tough spot. Many economies would not survive the world today without internet. Now, is the entire internet as easy to bring down? No, it's not. Oh, but a solar flare. Oh, but an EMP. No, this is the kind of thing that people that haven't done any research will usually say. So as to give you a little bit more of peace of mind, if there's a solar flare enough to bring down the internet in the entire planet, we will not be here anymore. So don't worry. You will have nothing to worry about, because none of us will exist if something like that happens, right? People think that a solar flare, an EMP, no, it is completely different what you see in Hollywood to what happens in the real world. Now, areas, yes, parts that, lines even that go down, of course, but it does not mean that the entire world goes dark. Now, we are now seeing some of the stuff that I've addressed many times in surviving the economic collapse, including street survival skills, in terms of what happens when your card doesn't get you anything. Well, cash is king, baby. The same thing we've been saying all along. This is where it's at. And it's about balancing everything. Everything that you see here on the table needs to be balanced in a reasonable manner, depending on what you consider likely to happen or not. But you always want to keep your feet grounded in reality and understand that, yes, this is essential. This is crucial, because when that card is not working, all the guy or the girl and the cashier can do is, ma'am, I need cash. I want to sell you this, or I want to sell you the gas for you to go on wherever you're going. But if I don't have the money, I can't sell it to you. This is something that may last several days. This may be something that lasts even years. Ask anyone in Argentina. That's still the case now. 20 years later, this is the way in which you preserve your savings. It's the way in which you save your money, because local currency is constantly being melted by inflation. Now, inflation is affecting everything, including the US dollar and all of the other fiat currencies. And that's why you're seeing, as of right now, this very moment, a historic record of gold. An ounce of gold is going for $2,400. That's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of cans and lots of bullets that you can buy with $2,000. Silver is also reaching a semi-historic high at 31. Silver has always been way behind gold in terms of its historic usual parity, it's really nowhere, not nearly close. It used to be that it was 20-1. Now it's $30 to $2,400. It's insane. Silver is a lot cheaper right now. Not only that, silver had seen, it's the difference here between gold and silver is silver saw an even greater peak back in 2011 or so, $50 an ounce. Now it's 30, it is still cheap. So guys, first lesson, first tip here, and by the way, anything that I say here is not considered, should not be considered any kind of financial advice. You do you, ask your financial advisor, your accountant, whoever it is. I'm just talking about things that we've been seeing and some of the conclusions we can probably reach together. But it is the case that silver was worth $50 in 2011 or so. Now $30. It is historically compared a lot cheaper. It is still the case that silver is cheap right now. That may be something you want to keep in mind. Now also keep in mind this. You stack these and this is still worth more. Well, kind of. This is still worth a lot of money, but look at the difference in size and weight. And this is in plastic. This little guy here, still encased in plastic. 1/10 of an ounce of gold, that's going to be $240. And these, what is it, $30? Is it really $30? It's a silver eagle. So yeah, well, not so easy, not so quick. What about our good old friend, the pirate here? Corsair. Look at this thing. 2 ounces of silver. High relief. It is freaking beautiful. This is going for $100. So hey, wait a minute. You just said that 2 ounces of silver, that should be 60. Well, you know what happens, guys? This is pretty. It's pretty, and pretty is valuable. Yes, in case you haven't noticed, people like pretty shit. And this is a beautiful coin. And back when they first minted this thing, it was beautiful, and it still is, and now it's no longer being made, so it is more valuable. $100. You won't find anything like this for less than $100. What about these ones? These are silver eagles. So it depends, because there's also the numismatic value of these coins. That's the difference between a round, a bar, a coin. Well, it's not always the same thing. Oh, but I don't care. I just won the medal. I'm a survivalist. I just won the medal. So give me all the junk silver, right? Well, not so quick, because if this is $30, $31, $32 because it's an ounce of silver, but because it's a silver eagle, and here it says 1996, and that makes it $70, $80 or $100 in the collector's market, I would be an idiot to drop something that is worth $100 for 30 simply because I'm ignorant. So don't be ignorant. Learn your coins, even the numismatic value of things that you may not be all that interested in, but that will tell you the true value of these things. It's probably going to be even easier to sell if you have a valuable coin because of how rare it is and how few were made in that specific year or whatnot, because of whatever rarity it has. You will be a lot more likely to get that being taken out of your hands quicker than just yet one more ounce of gold that has nothing else going for it. Rarity is always valuable. So know all of these things. Light, heavier, dates, rarity, all of this matters. Now, this is where we start looking at, okay, so in the initial stage of a full-blown economic collapse, this is going to be valuable, so I want to have some of this, or maybe even a lot of this. Absolutely. I also want to have this and this, yes, but not too much of this, because this is a lot lighter, and if I have to be quick, I want to have gold, not silver, which is a lot heavier. Absolutely. Stuff that I've covered already many times in my books. But what about when everything goes to hell and only thing valuable is, food? Sure. Now, is that the new currency? No, that's a tin of Spam. You can eat it. Oh, but I can't eat this. This has no value for me because I cannot eat it. Well, maybe it has no value for you, but this has been valuable for tens of thousands of years for all of humanity. So you don't matter at all. Your opinions mean absolutely nothing. It all depends on what everyone else considers to be valuable or not, right? Never forget, and I'm just laughing here because some guy in my Spanish channel left a little comment that said, you were just now introduced to inflation. I was built by it, molded by it. I never saw a dollar until I was a grown man. And when I saw one, it was a small head $1. So he made a post, he made a comment like the Batman and Bane thing, the speech about darkness. Like he made the same thing with inflation about the video of Survival Lily that she was giving advice about an economic collapse. And yes, of course, we've been molded by it, and we lived with hyperinflations from the moment we were born, so we understand it maybe in ways that other people don't. But yes, still the case. And if you want to go Civil War, like in the movie, that it's Canadian. Oh, Canadian dollars. That is actually very well done in terms of the writing of that little part there, because that's what happens for places like Argentina and other countries that have gone through that. Your local currency is worth nothing, but hey, I will sell it for that bill. Yes, that is okay. Remember also that it was not that long ago that this was $50. 1964. It was yesterday, guys. Historically, it was yesterday that Americans were using silver as their currency. Then came the glorious idea of the federal. Remember, back in the day, you were using this because it was a lot lighter than this guy right here. Dollar, US dollar, US dollar. The thing is, when I start piling these up, it starts getting heavy, and no one wants to drag around. These were already unpopular because of how heavy they were. So when they came up with this solution of, don't worry, I'll keep your stack of silver in my bank, and you just carry this piece of paper. At any moment, you just come back, you claim it, and it's all good. And people were happy to use paper. They loved, cowboys, they fucking love paper. It was a lot lighter. It would have a nice little stash of this and not drag around heavy silver. It was great. It was beautiful. Until bankers, when they said, I'll just print those instead. Literally, that's what happens with the economy. Literally, that's how you were enslaved by the elite. Guys, it was this. Nope, that is not there anymore. I just print what you use. I just print the money you use. I don't have to depend on you to actually mine stuff or work hard or actually earn stuff. No. It's going to be all me. I'll just print and you will use it. You will use what I print. I will print the money, you will use it, and you will owe me for what I printed in a piece of paper. It's beautiful, isn't it? Have you ever thought about it that way? Well, maybe you should, because that's exactly how it is. There's really anyone that tells you anything different, they're lying to you. They just stole the real money and started giving you a piece of paper. This was real money. This took effort. This had to be earned. This had to be mined. This had to be bartered or traded or got in some way or form. Anyway, doesn't matter. As of right now, stages, this could be years in which it's still valuable, or it could just be worthless in a few days if the entire system goes down, which is extremely unlikely, very rare. But hey, let's just pretend that what we saw yesterday and what we still see these days could extend to a greater period. Oh, that's when I want to have food. And yes, I can't eat this. That is very much correct. Now, how much is this worth in terms of currency? Well, not so much. If we end up in a position, and if you have months, even years, I talk with people. A guy in my Spanish channel is full of great insight. If you know Spanish at all, check out my Spanish channel, by the way, guys, because I have people that go through this stuff currently. A guy yesterday was commenting how he left Venezuela and he left his family with his stash of food that he had, like a year worth of food. So with his family already being capable of feeding themselves, he left to Argentina, of all places. Why? Well, because it's easier to go to Argentina than anywhere else for someone in that position. So he went to Argentina, got a job there, and he saved enough money, and he got his family out of Venezuela. So the food saved his family at that moment. Now, would it have been the case that having a ton of money would have been even better? Of course. You see what I mean? It's about everything. It's about balancing things. But always keep in mind how much, within the context, how much this is worth, how much this is worth, and even how much this is worth, right? So you have paper money, you have precious metals, you have goods that actually need to be alive. That may be very valuable, but you're not going to be bartering this. Even in Venezuela, you're not going to be bartering this for this. No, in Venezuela, a little bit of silver is still worth the price in the international market. But even as expensive as it may be, and it may be $1 for one, or $5 for a can of food in a place like Venezuela, maybe a couple dollars, but it's still the case that it is valuable. But it's not going to be silver or gold. And as we see with these records, because people are understanding that we're going into shady waters, and we still keep on sliding down in this inflation, slow motion, global economic collapse thing that we are all in, this roller coaster of hell. Well, we see how this keeps earning value, keeps winning, keeps getting more valuable, mostly because this keeps losing value. That's really all there is to it. Bitcoin right now is $71,000. Remember when we talked about Bitcoin? Remember when I talked about Bitcoin and gave you advice on all of this? Well, guys, you need to keep that in mind. Bitcoin, $61,000, record high. People thought it was crazy when it was $12,000. We're living in a world where we're going towards this Neuralink, chip in the brain, AI. Apparently, the idea of a theoretical perfect currency is appealing to some. I bet AI will find it very interesting as well if the AI ends up ruling or basically calling the shots in the world that we live in. I'll end up with also this. This shoots bullets. I'm talking like Kamala Harris now. I'm the vice president of the United States, guys. This is a 9mm pistol. It shoots 9mm bullets. If a 9mm bullet hits you, you're kind of fucked up. Yes, this is super valuable to keep you safe when everything starts falling apart. But also, this is an HKP7M8, which most of you, or at least some of you, understand that it's worth a shit ton of money. This is also a form of preserving wealth. If you go sell this thing, you're going to be getting a lot of money, right? And that makes it even more interesting. So it is a useful tool. Just like food is something that I need. This is something I need every day to survive. This is something that I may well one day end up needing to survive as well. But besides that, and besides being at a time the most expensive pistol ever made in the market, which people thought it was insane, it's not only very expensive, it was extremely high quality. It is till this day maybe one of the finest semi-automatic pistols ever made. It is crazy accurate. You have no idea how accurate this thing is unless you actually fired it. Even if you're a shitty shooter, you will shoot significantly better because of how awesome it is. I kid you not, yes. But it also worth a lot of money. And if you have to sell it because you are just about to catch a plane, because you're evacuating or whatever it is, and you can maybe go to a gun store, you leave that, you have a friend gun store nearby, you leave it behind, it's worth a lot of money, and even just as a weapon, it is valuable in its own. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to learn more specifically about economic collapse, survival, and that sort of thing, surviving the economic collapse, I would recommend it specifically for this sort of thing, but also complement it with the practical skills of street survival skills. Going great, by the way, the Spanish version, people loving it, so thank you so much for it. Take care, guys. See you next time.